Hi everybody, welcome to building episode 13 of Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. Get our Let's Play resumed. Okay, in the intervening dead space between recordings, one of my transmissions got completed and we now have 704 science sitting in our science pool. We have 627,000 funds. We're going to... Well, the first thing we're going to do is actually go to Moonlander 1, which when we left off last episode in episode 12, he managed to land and transmit most of his science. There is a surface sample on board. There's a surface sample on board. Review the stored data. And we want to bring that surface sample back. Here's the problem. We only have this much fuel. So I'm going to try quick saving. And this guy is going to launch up and get into orbit. Maybe return to Kerbal? I doubt it. This is probably going to be a rescue mission where we need to send someone to go get this science, this last remaining science from the moon. But that's okay. We'll just go full throttle. Maybe about 30 degrees above the horizon. And watch as our fuel gets horribly consumed. We're probably not even going to make it. I might end up reverting this flight. I mean, this needs to get to 10,000 meters and then circularize. Well, maybe we'll make it. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 kilometers. Okay. Let's warp here. Just waiting for our ship to warp to its spot here. Actually, here, no, let's cancel that. I can't remember how much fuel I was burning per second. But that's a 31-second burn just to get circularized. 17, 16, 15 full throttle. Yeah, actually, we have enough fuel to circularize. How about that? So, little in between the scenes stuff going on here. Go ahead and face full prograde, I guess. As we get ourselves into a low orbit around the moon. 10 by 11.9. You know what? That's good enough for me. Now, here's the real question. If I wanted to eject myself from the moon, it would take 20 more seconds of fuel to get that far, and we don't have that much. Well, we have 20 seconds of fuel. What we need, however, to return this would be super close. 27 seconds of fuel. Pretty sure we don't have 27 seconds of fuel. I'm positive we don't have 27 or 30 seconds of fuel. 39. 30. Adjust. Back it off a little. "28 seconds." Right. Calculator. 12.14 divided by 0.55. We have 22 seconds worth of fuel and 28 seconds worth of burn. This ship is staying in orbit. Just like that. Welcome to your new home, Jeb. I hope it makes you happy. We can face this way. Let the sun do its thing. No more fuel to be had in any of these. And that's all we got. So, you know, no big deal. It's a rescue mission. Reset that. Yep. It's a rescue with Jeb in orbit around the moon. We know we have a ship that's capable of reaching the moon and returning. So, you know, I'll probably do that in between episodes, or design something different and bring a materials bay here or something. But in any case, that's all I need to worry about for Jeb. Back at the Space Center with our 704 science, we're going to buy some stuff. I took a look at this in between things, and since I have really not focused on aerodynamics, or only a little bit in my previous seasons, I really want to put some effort into it. So, I'm going to research this node. It's 140,000 funds to buy all these parts, and I think pretty much all of them are going to be useful. That's a chunk of change to get all that. And if I want to really build something like an SSTO, I need this one, and I have the science to get it. So I'm kind of thinking I want to go deep into the aerodynamics tree, which leads here, by the way, where the Rapier is found, and research that. And purchase those parts for 120,000 funds. Now, I have 244 signs left, so I could grab one of these and one of these for sure. 90 plus 60, that's 150. 250. I wouldn't quite be able to do that. That's okay. We can grab a couple of these nodes. Advanced fuel systems. So fuel systems gives us the external fuel duct, which is real, and larger tanks, which reduces part counts. Doesn't matter that much, but it gives us these larger fuel tanks. And if we couple that with heavy rocketry, we can launch some big stuff into space. Big stuff, big. The tricoupler also gives us a similar capability, but it takes more parts, and things tend to get a little unstable with that. So, I don't know. We already have those propulsion systems. I don't even know why I grabbed that one. Oh, I grabbed that one for this engine. It turns out this engine isn't all that great. Its ISP is quite low. So this one we have a bigger engine with a better ISP. What else we have? Space exploration, which is leading to advanced exploration. Okay. As is always the case, I'm looking for new ways to get science. So, I'm going to pick up this one with the... Oh, do I want more science right now? Or do I really want to go after this fuel system? Let's take a look at what I have. General construction. So I have this adapter, and I have that decoupler. And I have no reason to use them, other than... So that's just an adapter. Is this any kind of fuel in it by any chance? No. Heavy rocketry. For that, we need bigger fuel tanks, which we don't have yet. All right, these two go hand in hand, pretty much, is what this is saying. I need these two, or I can get this and something else. Not quite enough to get command modules, although that'd be nice because, or even advanced exploration, because that would give us a mobile processing lab. Advanced flight control is useful. That gives us the Mark 1 lander can, and that makes different kinds of moon landings a real possibility, because this thing is much lighter to land on the moon than we can do multiple stage landings. But even so, in order to push something like that, we need... what's this one? We need heavier launch capability. I bet we might be able to figure out something with that. This is a 0.66 mass command module, as opposed to the, where is it? The one that we start off with, which is 0.84. So it's basically half the weight. And landing that on the moon, so being half the weight, that means that we need half the rocket and half the fuel and all that kind of stuff, really, to put that particular thing on the moon and return it. We've seen in our previous mission that we didn't have quite just enough fuel to do it. So that is a real possibility. Monopropellant tanks, specialized controls where we get the Werner engine. Monopropellant tanks and all those kinds of things for docking. So this is basically Moonlander in a kit. Couple it with the thing that we have, and we can do an Apollo-like moon exploration. Now, the other possibility is that we can go radically different and start working towards actuators and do something with asteroids. I think that's going to be later. Advanced construction. I think that's a goal for later. Okay, I've decided. We're increasing the size of our rockets with fuel systems and heavy rocketry. Because you already have high altitude flight, right? And it's going to be time to start lifting up some more massive things. So I think in this case, we're going to spend 180 science on these two nodes. Oh, never mind. If I want to make high altitude flight work, I have to have this landing gear. Well, that sort of determines that for me, doesn't it? 16,000 funds. 154 science. I'm 6 science shy. In that case, we will get the Presmat barometer. Purchase all those parts. And that is our science expenditures for this episode. Let's go take a look at contracts. We still have this contract active for temperature scan to the moon, more temperature scans to the moon, visual surveys, and stuff like that. They expire 9 years from now, so we can continuously work on those, work towards those. Here's another visual surveys of the moon. Satellite around a specific orbit. Explore Duna. This one never expires. Position a satellite in equatorial orbit around Minmus. Tourists. Orbit Kerbal, land on the moon, fly by the moon. Wow. That is an insane contract. We'll decline that. Temperature scans of Kerbal. Blah. Rescue someone from orbit around Minmus. That could be interesting. But I really think we have enough money in science sitting on the table here for moon operations. Fly by the sun. Fly a vessel anywhere nearby the sun to achieve this goal. Basically get in the sun's SOI. So we can do atmospheric scans of Kerbal. What's the specific orbit that they want for this satellite? It is nearly lunar. Again. And these are the... these are the scans right around us. Pressure readings. That's worth a fair chunk of change. It's like 100,000 credits. Or funds. Credits. Well, it's more like 80,000 funds. By the time we get our discounts in, more like 70 or 60,000. Still, 60,000 funds is nothing to cough at. That can certainly fund a production of a scientific splane. That's space plane. Explore Duna never expires. Fly by the sun. This is just leave Kerbal sphere of influence and come back. Oh, we could if we brought a materials bay out that far, we would have gobs of science. A Minmus satellite. Yeah, we have enough contracts right now. One of them. For sure. 225,000 to upgrade that. We might need to upgrade this so we have enough parts. Okay, so we have one cockpit. One, liquid fuel fuselage. One rocket fuel fuselage. So in this episode of Let's Build, or Building Together, or whatever you want to say, you know what? I know for a fact I never, ever, ever need that much liquid fuel. Or just liquid fuel. I messed around with this enough already. So, we'll put in a short liquid fuel fuselage and a longer rocket fuel fuselage. And go with that. Now, if we want to just have this be a single engine sort of thing, like this, we can put on a Reliant. Reliant has, it's going to have good delta, it's going to have good ISP at the altitude it's going to kick in, which is going to be some, like, 15 or 20 kilometers above the surface before this thing turns on. We could use this one, which is actually better. Really? Huh. Alright, let's get that. One Whiplash engine, please. Two rocket nacelles. Need these, well, we'll fix the angle in a bit. Excuse me. Okay. Rotate. I want you guys facing. Like so. Alright, so there's our center of thrust. Center of thrust is all looking good. We'll have two different stages. The jet engine stage and then the rocket stage. Now, the real kicker is the center of lift. This is a lifting body, so it already provides us with a fair bit of lift. I'm not going to talk control surfaces just yet. The art of building space planes really comes down, especially in the new aerodynamics. I've just decided to call this rabbit. Is to SSTO. The real trick with space planes is to get your center of lift figured out for all your main lifting surfaces. Wings, lifting body, etc. Get that done first, and then worry about control surfaces. Now, one thing I don't have is any air intakes. I have the structural intakes, which don't give me a whole lot of intake air, but that's okay. So this is a ram. I still wonder... I don't know. I think we'll just try this design. This is all... This is liquid fuel and oxidizer. Good. Good, good. And that's just liquid fuel to get us up to altitude. Alright, let's put some wings on this thing. We have swept wings type A. Swept wings are these nice big ones. So if I bring my main lift to about here... You know, we need to keep an eye on what happens when our fuel empties. And when our fuel is gone, this is what our ship looks like. So this is what it looks like at the worst configuration. That tells me that I really need to sort of flip that around, probably. I wonder if I can get away with less, since I know that, since I know that carries rocket fuel. So that right there is going to be a problem. When we're completely empty, everything's fine. Plus, we need to actually make these wings, you know, face a reasonable direction. Something like that. So we just have to be a little bit careful. And that is awfully close. Oh, bother. This is sort of the worst configuration that we have here, because everything from there improves. Okay, so I'm spending a lot of time really getting this lifting surface figured out first. So that's the main lift profile through all stages of this space plane. As this center tank drains of all of its rocket fuel, that center of mass will shift backwards a bit. As this drains of its liquid fuel, that center of mass continues to shift back a bit. So this is the worst that it's going to get. You can see the center of lift is a little bit ahead. Kind of wish I had a paper airplane around here or something to show you. Center of lift is a little, just the tiniest bit ahead of the center of mass in this situation. And what that's going to cause the plane to do is pitch up. In fact, it'll prefer to invert itself and come in tail first. And we don't want that. That will definitely blow up our plane on re-entry. The whole point of a reusable space plane is that we have precise control of where this thing can come down. But in this configuration, in standard flying configuration, it's going to handle quite nicely. The center of lift is behind the... So if this is the nose and this is the tail, the center of lift behind the center of mass means that all things being equal with no control input, it's going to nosedive. We can overcome that with some control surfaces. And there's a couple of ways to do that. Since our lifting is happening way back here with our main wings. Now here's a question. What happens if I switch these out for some delta wings? let's put ourselves in our worst configuration again. So these delta wings are actually providing more lift overall. Which kind of gives us a cooler look in some ways. Rotate. Still sticks out a bit. All right, just fix that. So it looks all nice. And there's what this thing looks like with a delta wing. You know, I kind of like the delta wing configuration better. Now for control surfaces. We are going to have a couple of elevons. Big fat ones. Like that. Right there. And elevon 3s on the other side of this. As I figure out how to rotate these. There we go. That doesn't work. Elevon ones. Do I have smaller ones? Well, what we can do is shoot, where'd they go? Engines. We can move these further back. And rotate them where they need to be. More like that. Which gives us more room here. For those ones. And we're going to go ahead and pull these in with the offset tool. Like so. And what that means is that we now have more room for those, and then aerodynamics. More room for the elevon 2s. We will see if this clipping causes any problems. I don't want a four-wing because I just don't want to have to deal with the drag and the and all the other stuff that entails. I do, however, need a tail section, so we can use. There's a couple of designs. We can use the old single tail section on the back of the space plane sort of thing. It's a pretty standard configuration, which I kind of like, actually. You know, it's just a control surface, it'll work fine. Now we need to get some air into the sky. And that should be easily accomplished. With these. I don't know if we'll need 4 of those or not. The more of these you have, the more drag, but the more air intake is available for your engines, which does have an effect on the service ceiling of the main engine. But since we're only running 1, I'm going to try it with that. I'll add more if I need to. Now for landing gear. That's utility. So these landing gear, pretty much want them to be... Oh, I also need to consider what this guy looks like empty. That's empty. Hang on. That's empty. This is full. So this should give us a good point of rotation around which to take off from. We're going to rotate those like so. Stick one right up front, just like that. We should have a decent angle, enough angle of incidence and glide right there. Now science instruments. That's what we're really down to at this point. Do I have a little cargo bay by any chance? Aerodynamic. Not aerodynamic, structural. Utility. That's a large cargo bay. How much battery do you have? 150, that's good. That's a lot of battery. We are going to be in... I do want, for emergency purposes, a couple of parachutes to bring this thing down. We know that it's going to need a solar panel, but any solar panel that's going to be on this thing would probably get blown right off during ascent. Do we just go on the fact that we have limited battery and call it good? This is really meant for orbital operations around Kerbal at this point. I think that's going to be good. None of that needed, none of that needed. Science! Grab a comms thing for transmission of science back to Kerbanity. Grab a Presmat barometer. Grab a temperature thingy. Hopefully those things last during during the climb. Here it is, the Rabbit STO. We have an emergency recovery stage. Let's give it a test flight. We'll just see if we can get into orbit. Okay, we'll try a nice 20 degree climb to our preferred height. Oh, I forgot to set these again. Dang it. This one's only pitch. This one's only roll. This one is only yaw. Okay, we're going plenty fast now. Go ahead and pull up to a 20 degree climb, which should give us a good combination of speed accumulation as well as altitude gains. What looks like we're actually doing quite nicely. We're about to hit the sound barrier. And the faster we go, the more thrust this thing provides. To a point. Alright, I need to fly straight and level for a bit here to get as much speed as I can. Nope. Just trying to find the... so each space plane has pretty unique handling characteristics. As far as what it can handle and is capable of doing. Well, this one really shouldn't have any problems. I mean, it just might be that I don't have enough engines on it. In which case, I have some ideas for redesign. Let's get into a 15-degree climb. It might just be that 188 kilonewtons of thrust is not enough for this this plane to do anything with. When we stall out due to altitude, then we know what our service ceiling is under this current configuration. And notice that we've hardly used any of the liquid fuel at all. Oh, that's because we're draining from all tanks evenly. Okay, that's fine. That's actually better for our center of mass shift, that issue where we have a shifting center of mass. So just out of curiosity, now we're approaching it. We're only climbing at 10 meters per second now. We're not really getting any more speed. In fact, we're losing thrust by the moment. So this thing's going to lose its ability to go up here pretty soon. Let's kick on rocket mode. And we can see that just with these two things, rocket mode actually has plenty of power. So, we can use rocket mode to pull ourselves into a more vertical type of thing. We're going through oxidizer like candy, though. As we push through the sound barrier. Normally we wouldn't want to go this fast anyway. But I kind of want to drain out all the oxidizer. Okay, attempt number 1 was pretty good, but didn't quite fit the bill. So we will go with attempt number 2, which is... we don't have fuel crossfeeds, do we? No. So if we shorten this guy up, let's put on that rocket motor. For orbital operations, that may or may not be enough. We're going to be going at... we're going to be at 25 kilometers when this thing lights. All that liquid fuel is reserved for that thing. Fuel tanks. A couple of liquid fuel fuselages with some big air intakes, like so. And again, bring up the center of lift, center of mass, center of thrust. Okay. And this time, under engines, we put 2 of these down. This space plane got a whole lot shorter. Emptying this moves the center of lift forward. Good, good. Yeah, that center of lift is not moving much. So what that means is I can actually grab this whole thing and adjust it to right about there. Those landing gear are still just about in the right spot, I think. Okay, once again, parachute recovery system for our crew's continued safety. A couple of science instruments. For the gathering of atmospheric sciences. This thing is much shorter than the previous one. Got all our stages sorted once again. And make sure we have the right crew assignments. Yes, we do. Save that. Oh, control surfaces. This is yaw only. By default, the torque will be off. We'll lock that gimbal. Back to parts. Aerodynamics, Elevon 2. And Elevon 3. Just like that. Pitch. Roll. There we go. So again, get your main lifting body, your main lift sorted out first. And then worry about control surfaces. Don't worry about what this center of lift looks like after you have all your control surfaces in place. Mainly you want to worry about what that looks like beforehand. I'm not sure that we have enough liquid fuel for this job, but we will try it. That's an awful lot of... well, that's only... okay. Alright, here we go. Oh yeah, we've got some power now. Gear is up. And we are climbing on our way. We'll go with a 30-degree climb and just slam it. Here's the sound barrier. As we continue to push right through it. Oh man, we are hauling. I need to back off the throttle. We're going to get going way too fast. I'm going to go ahead and close my intakes and just go to rocket mode. Which is losing me speed like crazy. Dang it. Alright, that rocket is not powerful enough to do what we need it to do. So, off it comes. And on with a swivel. Check our center of mass and center of lift with respect to that, and check it empty. Okay, all looks good. Save the Mark III. And we need to make one adjustment here, just like that. These are all still set. Launch it. Here we go, the Rabbit Mark III. A graceful launch. Gear retraction is good. 45 degrees on the clock. As we gain altitude and speed. Boom! This little swivel might not be good enough either. Log pressure data. We can keep that. Temperature data, we'll reset that. What happened? I'm still reading we have oxidizer available. Oh, we're out of liquid fuel. Okay. Liquid fuel transfer to here, please. So we can automate that as we get, boop, and that's our oxidizer. All right. Transfer liquid fuel back. What do we end up with? We ended up with a suborbital trajectory. I think I know what needs to happen. This liquid fuel fuselage doesn't have quite enough juice. Oh, I know what needs to happen. I know exactly what needs to happen. So we had plenty of liquid fuel. What we didn't have enough of was the other stuff. Fuel tanks. How about another rocket fuel fuselage? That's probably all that we needed. Yeah, everything looks about the same, empty or full. So, let's put this. This is the Mark IV. Nope, that's not going to work. So the only problem with this is our angle of incidence for this landing gear becomes really problematic. See where our center of mass is now? Oh yeah, well let's worry about the worst case scenario. Okay, let's get the center of lift where I want it, which is about there. Yeah, that's better. And we can always shift this fuel around for ballast if we need to. Okay. I'm okay with that. So always check your fuel tanks full and empty to see if you have a lift, I'm sorry, a center of mass profile that you like. Like so. Everything's looking good. Same. Still got parachutes for recovery. Science instruments for science. Full power. Oh, yeah. Once again, a nice steep climb to our altitude. With the power of jet engines. And we're at max Z, so we want to back off a little bit here. And boom, rocket mode. Now we're in orbit mode, face ourselves directly prograde, look for our apoapsis. There's orbit. Or there's a space. Space plus a bit. Circularization, a minute 5. We need to go ahead and enable the torque. Get ourselves facing our maneuver, like so. And at 30 seconds, kick on the motor. Now what this tells me is that, well, we'll see. So this flight profile was much better than the last one. Like so, 30 seconds. Down to our last bits of oxidizer. Let's put the liquid fuel in the system. And not quite enough. I think that might be how I'm launching this thing, though. I'm pretty sure there's more speed to be had before the jet engines kick out. So instead of a 45-degree climb angle, I'm going to go for a 30-degree climb angle. That'll have two effects. We'll actually have more of our speed going into velocity as opposed to lift, and we'll end up burning more liquid fuel. If we're not carrying as much liquid fuel into space, and that might make a big difference. So we are indeed moving. We can back off our throttle and let ourselves climb. As well as accumulate speed at 50% throttle. Okay, now we're at a point where we can really kick up the speed. I'm just going to keep on climbing until this engine fails, basically. There it is. I kind of wonder if in both cases I would have been better served by just going prograde the whole time. Off the ground, gear up. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to climb from at 30 degrees, and then I'm going to basically pull hard to get more altitude. Maybe I'll just not back off the throttle and see if anything blows up. Okay, we are seriously gaining speed now. I'm fully expecting something to start overheating any second. There it is. But even so, flip over to rocket mode. See, if I really want the most aerodynamic profile, prograde is the way to go. Specific impulse is 320. I need to make sure we have all the liquid fuel we need in here. Bingo. Just keep on transferring liquid fuel in as needed. Two, one, and bingo. We have reached orbit in our space plane. Whoa, a nice orbit too. And we have oxidizers to spare to deorbit this thing. Yeah, that means we have no problem. We're going to have no problem doing these things. That one's landed. These are in the atmosphere. That one's landed. We can see that it's lawn darting pretty well. It's continuously facing nose forward, which is what we want in a stable air, a stable space plane. So now what we can do is we can actually apply some upward trim. Turn off the torque. Just apply whatever upward trim there is, and what's going to happen is some of the lift will also help to slow our craft down. So we don't have to rely as much on heating and speed to do that. See how we're applying pitch now to keep that stable. And we slowly glide. Here's the continent we live on. There's Kerbal Space Center right there. So this whole time we've basically been hypersonically gliding. There's the other space center. Okay, now we're doing full re-entry. I am seeing some heat build up, but it's not too bad. In fact, there it goes. So on a nice low gliding re-entry like this, that's exactly what we're expecting. Nothing too drastic. Controllable, flyable, easy. Alright, we're coming up on approach for Kerbal Space Center. We're going to let our craft sort of glide down here. Hopefully for a nice landing. As we glide down to a nice soft touchdown and brakes. And that is it. Episode 13, not as unlucky as, or building episode 13, not as unlucky as one might think. As we have, successfully built a single stage to orbit, capable of moving 2 crew people and a couple of scientific instruments, and it also has a parachute backup in case of emergency recovery. So that's going to be it for building episode 13. Thanks for watching this kind of extended little tootling in Kerbal Space Program here. We will get to the episode proper and complete that mission in episode 13. Thanks for watching. Goodbye!